He tore up my college acceptance and said I'd never leave his house. He didn't know the house was never his to control. I still remember the way his fingers tightened around that envelope before he tore it apart like it was nothing. That letter was my way out, my future, everything I had worked for in silence, and in a few seconds it was gone. He didn't even hesitate. He didn't ask me how hard I worked for it. He didn't care. He just looked at me across the table and said I wasn't going anywhere because no daughter of his needed an education. I didn't cry. I didn't react. I had learned a long time ago that reacting only made things worse. After my mom died, everything in that house changed, and I learned very quickly that my feelings didn't matter. I was 9 when she passed, and from that day forward, my father became someone I barely recognized. He didn't shout much. He didn't need to. His control came in quieter ways. Rules, expectations, silence. I became the one who woke up before sunrise to make breakfast, the one who cleaned every room before school, the one who made sure everything was perfect before he came home. If something was wrong, even something small, I was the one who paid for it. Not with violence, but with words that stayed in my head long after he said them. Words that made me feel small, invisible, replaceable. Over time, I stopped trying to be seen. I just focused on surviving. School became the only place where I felt like I existed. Teachers noticed me. They encouraged me. They told me I was smart, capable, that I could build a life outside of that house. At first, I didn't believe them. But slowly, I started to hold on to that idea like it was the only thing keeping me going. I studied late at night when the house was quiet, using a dim light so he wouldn't notice. I worked harder than anyone else because I knew this was my only chance. And eventually, it paid off. I got accepted into a college I had dreamed about for years with a full scholarship. When I read that letter for the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, real hope. And I made the mistake of thinking maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time he would see me. Maybe this time he would be proud. But the moment I handed him that letter, I knew I was wrong. He didn't smile. He didn't even look impressed. He just read it slowly, like he was searching for something to criticize, and then he tore it apart piece by piece until there was nothing left. He told me I was needed in that house, that my place was there, and that college was a waste for someone like me. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, feeling completely empty. It wasn't just the letter, it was everything. Every year of silence, every sacrifice, every moment I told myself things would get better. It all felt pointless. But what I didn't know was that someone else had been paying attention all along. My grandmother. She didn't live with us, but she visited often. She was quiet, observant, the kind of person who noticed things others ignored. She never argued with my father. She never made a scene. But she saw everything and she remembered. A few days after the letter incident, she asked me to sit with her. She handed me a small envelope and told me to open it when I was alone. There was something in her eyes that day, something calm but certain, like she already knew how everything would unfold. That night, I opened the envelope in my room. Inside was a document I didn't fully understand at first, but as I read it again and again, my hands started to shake. It was the deed to the house. And it didn't have my father's name on it. It had hers. I couldn't believe it. The house he controlled, the place he used to keep me trapped, wasn't even his. For the first time in years, I felt something different. Not fear, not sadness, but clarity. Everything he built his authority on was a lie. Days passed and I didn't say anything. I didn't confront him. I didn't change how I acted. But inside, something had shifted. I wasn't trapped anymore. I just hadn't walked out yet. Then one afternoon, my grandmother came over again, but this time something was different. She walked in with confidence, not hesitation. She sat down at the same table where my future had been torn apart and placed a folder in front of my father. He looked irritated at first, asking what it was, but she didn't react. She simply told him to open it. I stood there, watching quietly as he flipped through the papers. At first his expression didn't change, but slowly it did. Confusion, then disbelief. And finally, something I had never seen on his face before: fear. She told him calmly that the house was never his, that she had kept it in her name all these years, and that she had watched everything he had done. She said she had stayed silent long enough. The room felt heavy, like the air itself had changed. For the first time in my life, he had nothing to say. No control, no authority, no power, just silence. Then she said something that changed everything. She looked at him and said I was going to college, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. And just like that, the man who controlled every part of my life lost everything in a moment. He didn't argue. He didn't fight back. He just sat there, completely still, like he finally understood that his control was never real. Within a week, I packed my things. Not quietly, not secretly, but openly, confidently. And when I walked out of that house, I didn't feel scared. I felt free. College wasn't easy at first. I had to learn how to live without fear, how to make decisions for myself, how to trust my own voice. But I kept going. Because for the first time, I was building something that belonged to me. Years later, I realized something important. My father didn't lose control because I fought back. He lost it because the truth finally showed up. And the truth has a way of doing that, no matter how long it takes. If this story meant something to you, don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had to fight for your dreams when the people closest to you tried to hold you back?